I think it takes a lot for someone to get kicked out of somewhere. Like, you really have to be causing quite the disturbance for people to want you out of their establishment. So when I hear about celebrities getting kicked out of places, I have to stop and ask myself, what did they do now? I've compiled a list of celebrities who've been removed from places because of their shenanigans and poor behavior, so let's talk about the top 10 celebrities who were kicked out of award shows. At number 10, Linkin Park. I can't say I've ever been to any kind of award show, but from what I gather with these high-profile ceremonies, it's pretty exclusive and security is very tight. I mean, it would have to be when there's a big room of celebrities and crazy fans outside the venue trying to catch a glimpse of their favorite person. It's great for those who are invited because they know they'll have a mostly smooth trip to the show, but sometimes there can be mix-ups and it can cause quite the headache. One of these headaches occurred at the AMAs one year, and it resulted in the band Linkin Park getting kicked out of the award show. Back in 2017, the band was at the AMAs to accept the award for favorite alternative artist, but because of a mix-up with their credentials, they ended up spending most of the night battling with security to let them into the event. One of the bandmates documented the whole ordeal on their Instagram story, where they explained that they weren't given the right tickets and passes for backstage, and they spent a long time dodging security before eventually being kicked out. I feel like security should have a list of those who are attending the event so that this doesn't happen, but maybe things have changed since this incident. At number 9, Lily Allen. I think it goes without saying, but don't take substances. Actually, strange substances that were randomly given to you. Singer Lily Allen certainly did not follow that advice, as it got her in so much trouble that she ended up getting kicked out of an award show. Lily told the story of what happened on her Twitter when a fan asked to hear about a time that they were kicked out of somewhere. The singer told the fan about how they got kicked out of the Glamour Awards several years back because they did a line of what they thought was no snow, but it turned out to be a very different substance. Lily followed that up by saying, quote, "I was thrown out, passed over some railings of the Glamour Awards for being a K-hole," end quote. It's an unfortunate story, but it also once again reminds us to not take substances. Keep your noses clean, folks. Don't do it. Now, before I carry on with the rest of the video, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a big ol' thumbs up on this video if you're enjoying it so far, because it really does help the channel out and we love seeing your support. At number 8, Russell Brand. Russell Brand can be kind of an outspoken guy. He's the type of person who always says what's on his mind, and he often faces mild amounts of backlash for it. Like last year when he tried mansplaining WAP. That was definitely fun. But his words have also gotten him in trouble at award shows, and he's been kicked out of one for making some not so funny jokes. This all took place back in 2013 when he was attending the GQ Men of the Year award. When Russell was on stage, he started cracking jokes about the award show sponsor Hugo Boss, making fun at the fact that this brand had a history of providing uniforms for the German soldiers in World War II. You know, those guys. Anyways, Russell made a comment about this saying, quote, "Any of you who know a little bit about history and fashion will know that Hugo Boss made the uniforms for the Nazis. The Nazis did have flaws, but you know, they did look f***ing fantastic. Let's face it, while they were killing people on the basis of their religion and sexuality," end quote. As you can imagine, nobody found this joke funny at all. In fact, it was so unfunny that Russell was promptly kicked out of the show. It was very offensive, but he stuck to his guns, so to speak, continuing to comment on it via Twitter, but we don't need to talk about that today. At number 7, One Direction. Back in the day, One Direction was one of the biggest groups in the music industry, so any news about them was of course amplified by their fans. One story that caught a lot of people's attention was how a couple of the band's members had allegedly been kicked out of an award show, but as things on the internet do, details got lost and rewritten, so really no one knows exactly what happened that night, but I'll tell you about all the speculation that went on then. The band was at the AMAs back in 2015, and at some point during that evening, a picture of bandmates Niall Horan and Louis Tomlinson started circulating around Twitter, saying that they had been kicked out of the event for messing around too much. Soon fans started speculating, and that speculation turned into the following story. Apparently, once again, according to the internet, the two band members were hitting each other in the nuts, and so they got kicked out for being rowdy. Once this story started going around, reps of the band tried to clarify that the picture that started it all was taken as the lads were waiting to return after a commercial break, but at this point, everyone was ready to run with the ball story, so honestly, I don't know what to believe. The only solid information we have is that those two were sitting outside of the show. At number 6, Ryan Seacrest. Imagine being invited to one of Hollywood's biggest events just to get kicked out moments after you arrive. I feel like that would really suck because you would really hype yourself up to experience something so extraordinary, only to be let down and have your dreams crushed. Well, maybe not so dramatic, but it still wouldn't feel very nice. This is essentially what happened to Ryan Seacrest as he was invited to the Oscars awards ceremony and was kicked out shortly after arriving. According to Ryan, he was invited to the award show to provide the segue from the pre-show event to the main award show, but after he completed his task, he went to go find his seat because he assumed that he would be staying for the rest of the show. While he was looking for his seat, he was approached by the event's ushers and managers and was told, quote, "Mr. Seacrest, your car is ready," end quote. He was a little taken aback and was like, no, what do you mean? I just opened the show. To which they replied with, quote, "We don't have a ticket for you." Ouch. Ryan continued explaining what happened next, saying, quote, "So they put me in a car and they drove me out, and the next thing I know, I'm on Hollywood Boulevard going away from the Oscars. And the LAPD, the cops are on the corner, the windows down, and they say, 'Hey Ryan, you're going the wrong way.' I said, 'No, I'm going the right way.' They sent me home to watch on television like everyone else," end quote. That must have really stung, but at least he was able to get into some comfy clothes to watch the show from the comfort of his couch instead of being stuck in a suit sitting next to celebrities who don't wear deodorant or something. At number 5, Adam Pally. I figured that it would take a lot for someone to get kicked out of an event like the Shorty Awards. I mean, this award show is for social media stars and influencers, and they cause all kinds of shenanigans all the time. So I figured that this kind of energy was given at an event like this, but apparently someone has gone that extra mile to get kicked out of this event, and that was actor Adam Pally. Adam was at the award show back in 2018 to present an award, but apparently he thought that the concept of the entire award show was so dumb, and so he decided to rip on it for a good 10 minutes before getting escorted out of the event. As soon as he got to the stage, Adam started his commentary by saying, quote, "Thank you very much for having me tonight at the Shorty Awards, the waiting at the DMV of award shows," end quote. I mean, he's not wrong. He then followed up with a handful of other jokes, essentially making fun of the supposed legitimacy of the award show, but then he made one comment that was the last straw for the show's executives when he said, quote, "Tonight we pay tribute to those who are not with us. We're going to do an in memoriam for a bunch of, I don't know, like MySpace or something," end quote. He was escorted out of the event soon after. At number 4, Alison King. Once again, we have to talk about celebrities being under the influence in public. I understand that a lot of award shows serve drinks and whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go overboard with the booze, because that can lead you to getting kicked out, and that's what happened with actress Alison King at the National Television Awards last year. The Coronation Street actress had to be escorted out of the event because she started drinking to excess, and that certainly wasn't a good look for those who were running the show. Other guests in attendance commented on the actress's state at the award show, saying that she was acting a little disorderly and pretty out of it because of how much alcohol she had consumed, and so once this came to the attention of the event's executives, they had to get her out of there for their sake and for Alison's. I would imagine that something like that would be pretty embarrassing, so let this serve as a reminder to drink responsibly, guys. At number 3, Kid Rock and Tommy Lee. While attending an award show, you have to respect what's going on stage. Whether it's a performance or the actual awards being presented, it's important to be a good audience member and not cause a scene in the middle of the event. Clearly, however, Kid Rock and Tommy Lee didn't quite get this memo, because when they attended the VMAs in 2007, they caused quite the scene and ended up getting kicked out because of it. The pair got into a heated argument during Alicia Keys' performance that started as a verbal fight and ended in an all-out brawl with slaps, punches, and the whole 9 yards. Other guests in attendance were stunned while they watched this fight unfold. Some tried to get out of the way as security rushed to break the scene up, and others just sat at the table stunned. The police were eventually called in to handle the situation, but this fight was certainly not something that people would forget anytime soon. At number 2, Hattie McDaniel. Now, this incident didn't exactly result in someone getting kicked out, but it almost did. Back in 1940, actress Hattie McDaniel was nominated for an Academy Award, and she actually ended up winning the Oscar. However, she was almost unable to accept the honor because she was black, and they almost didn't let her attend the ceremony. Back then, the venue where the award ceremony was held was a whites-only establishment, so people had to pull a lot of strings to get the actress in the building, and even then, she wasn't allowed to sit with the rest of the cast of Gone with the Wind. Instead, she was seated in the far corner of the venue, but as long as she was there and able to accept the award, that was enough. She made history that night, and it's wild to think how different things would have been if she had been kicked out that night. And finally, at number 1, Aubrey Plaza. Even though many have tried, I feel like award shows aren't the place to be pulling weird stunts because they never end well. I mean, look at Kanye's VMA moment. It was straight up cringy. But even the embarrassment factor can't stop all celebrities from pulling stunts at these events, and actress Aubrey Plaza is one of those stars who tried to pull one of these stunts and it totally backfired and got her kicked out of the event. While attending the MTV Movie Awards back in 2013, Aubrey ran up on stage barefoot and tried to pry one of the golden popcorn trophies out of Will Ferrell's hands after he had just won the award for comedic genius. The comedian thought that the stunt was staged at first, but it turns out that this had been a publicity stunt from one of Aubrey's films called The To-Do List, which she had spelled out across her chest. It was just a really cringy moment, and I'm sure a lot of people have been trying to forget about it, so sorry for bringing it up again. Now before I wrap things up, I want to know if you guys have ever been kicked out of somewhere, whether it was a public place like the mall or a restaurant or somewhere private like a hotel or a house. I want to know what kind of shenanigans you guys got up to and how you got kicked out. Leave all of your stories down in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit that subscribe button to see more from us and tap that notification bell so you always know when we have new content coming your way. I've been your host, Bria Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends.